The gun is 4 feet from his face when Khari realizes he forgot to refill the napkin dispensers. The thought comes clean and sharp, cutting through the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. 2 men in black masks stand near the register. One has a pistol aimed at Marcus, the night manager, whose hands are shaking so hard the keys rattle against the counter. The other man sweeps his weapon across the diner, counting heads. Khari doesn't move. His hands stay flat on the table, fingers spread against the cold laminate. The coffee in front of him has gone lukewarm. He can feel the weight in his belly pressing against the booth's edge, 6 months of pregnancy making every position uncomfortable. His uniform shirt pulls tight across his stomach. The name tag reads Khari in faded letters. The air smells like burnt coffee and floor cleaner. Someone dropped a plate in the kitchen earlier and nobody swept it up. Khari can hear the pieces grinding under the cook's shoes as the man backs away from the grill. "Wallets on the counter," the first gunman says. His voice cracks on the last word. "Young. Maybe 22. Hi viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." The second gunman moves closer to the booths. His boots squeak against the linoleum. Khari watches the barrel of the gun track across the room, studying each customer like items on a grocery list. An older woman near the window fumbles with her purse. A businessman in a wrinkled suit throws his wallet on the floor. It lands with a slap that makes everyone flinch. Everyone except Khari. His breathing doesn't change. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The same rhythm he uses when the baby kicks hard enough to bruise his ribs. The same rhythm he learned in a basement apartment 8 years ago when his hands were zip-tied and someone else held the gun. "You," the second gunman says. He's looking at Khari now. "Phone. Wallet. Now." Khari reaches slowly into his pocket. His fingers brush against his phone case, cracked at the corner from when he dropped it last week. His wallet is held together with electrical tape. Inside there's $43, an expired bus pass, and a photo of his mother he should probably take out but hasn't. He sets both items on the table. "No hurry. No drama. Stand up," the gunman says. Khari slides out of the booth. The movement takes longer than it should. His center of gravity is wrong, pulled forward by the baby. His lower back aches. He's been on his feet since 6 this morning, double shift because Denzel called in sick again. His ankles are swollen inside his sneakers. The gunman stares at him. The mask covers everything except his eyes. Dark brown, bloodshot around the edges. "You good?" the gunman asks. Khari doesn't understand the question at first. Then he realizes his face hasn't changed. No fear, no panic. Just the same tired expression he wears when customers complain about cold fries or the bathroom being locked. "I'm fine," Khari says. His voice comes out steady, flat, like he's answering a question about the weather. The gunman's hand tightens on the pistol. His finger rests against the trigger guard, not inside it. Safety conscious, trained maybe, or careful. "You a cop?" the gunman asks. "I work here," Khari says. "Night shift. Weekends." The second gunman, the younger one, is shoving wallets into a black duffel bag. He's not wearing gloves. Khari notes this without meaning to. Fingerprints everywhere. These two won't make it to sunrise before someone identifies them. "Empty your pockets," the first gunman says. He hasn't moved, still watching Khari's face like he's trying to solve an equation. Khari turns his pockets inside out. A few coins fall to the floor. A receipt from the corner store. A packet of saltines he took from the kitchen because the morning sickness doesn't care that it's supposed to stop after the first trimester. The gunman's eyes drop to Khari's stomach. The uniform shirt doesn't hide anything anymore. The baby shifts, a rolling movement that presses against Khari's ribs. He puts one hand on his belly without thinking. Old habit. Protective instinct he didn't know he had until 3 months ago when he couldn't afford to get rid of it and the clinic stopped returning his calls. "How far along?" the gunman asks. The question catches Khari off guard. Not what he expected. Not from someone holding a gun. 6 months, Khari says. The gunman is still staring. Not at the pregnancy. At Khari's face. His eyes narrow behind the mask, like he's searching for something specific. Recognition flickers there, quick and uncertain. Then the younger gunman says, "We need to go. Now." The first gunman doesn't respond. His head tilts slightly, the way people do when they're trying to place a voice they've heard before. Khari feels the moment stretch, thin and fragile. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Someone's phone is vibrating on the floor. The businessman is crying quietly, shoulders shaking. Khari keeps his hand on his stomach. The baby kicks again. Strong this time. Insistent. The gunman takes a step closer. Close enough that Khari can see the fabric of the mask shift when he breathes. Close enough to smell cigarette smoke and something sharper underneath. Adrenaline, maybe. Fear disguised as control. "What's your name?" the gunman asks. Khari's throat goes dry. This is wrong. Robbers don't ask names. They grab and run. They don't stand in the middle of a diner at 2 in the morning asking personal questions like they're making conversation at a bus stop. "Khari," he says, because lying seems more dangerous than the truth. The gunman goes completely still. Behind him, the younger one is already at the door, duffel bag slung over his shoulder. "Come on," he hisses, but the first gunman doesn't move. His eyes lock onto Khari's face, and something shifts in his expression. Not recognition exactly, something closer to certainty, like a puzzle piece sliding into place. He opens his mouth, closes it. Then he adjusts his grip on the pistol, lowering it slightly. Not putting it away, just shifting the angle so it's no longer pointed directly at Khari's chest. "Stay safe," the gunman says. His voice is different now, quieter, almost careful. Then he turns and walks toward the door. The younger one is already outside. The first gunman pauses in the doorway, one hand on the frame. He looks back, not at the room, not at Marcus or the businessman or the woman still clutching her purse. To Khari. The door swings shut. The bell above it chimes, bright and cheerful, completely wrong for the moment. Someone starts crying harder. Marcus collapses against the counter. The cook comes out from the kitchen, phone already pressed to his ear, voice shaking as he talks to the dispatcher. Khari stands in the middle of the diner, hands still on his stomach, watching the empty doorway where the gunman stood 5 seconds ago. His heart is beating too fast now. Not from fear, from something else. Something that feels like standing on the edge of a roof and realizing the ground is farther away than you thought. The baby kicks, and Khari understands with perfect clarity that this isn't over. Someone just remembered him. Do you think Khari recognized the voice too? Or is he about to walk into something he can't escape? Khari's shift ends at 6, but he doesn't leave until 7. The police take statements. A detective with coffee breath and a wrinkled tie asks the same questions 3 different ways. Like Khari might suddenly remember a detail he didn't notice the first time. Height, build, accent, gang tattoos. Khari answers each one the same way. Calm, factual, no embellishment. The detective writes everything down in a notebook that's more duct tape than paper. When he asks if Khari felt threatened, Khari says yes because that's the answer people expect. The truth is more complicated. The truth is he stopped feeling fear the way other people do somewhere around year 2 of living in a car, when the panic attacks stopped being useful and started being a waste of energy he couldn't afford. Marcus offers him a ride home. Khari accepts because the buses don't run this early and his ankles hurt too much to walk the 4 miles back to his apartment. They don't talk during the drive. Marcus keeps both hands on the wheel and runs 2 red lights. Khari doesn't mention it. The apartment building is the kind of place people call transitional when they're being polite and a dump when they're being honest. 6 stories of peeling paint and broken intercoms. Khari's unit is on the 4th floor. The elevator has been out of service since March. He takes the stairs slowly, one hand on the railing, the other supporting his lower back. His neighbor's door is open a crack. Mrs. Chen, 70-something, watches everything, says nothing. Khari can smell jasmine tea and cigarette smoke drifting into the hallway. He nods as he passes. She nods back. This is the extent of their relationship. Inside his apartment, Khari locks the door. Both locks. Then the chain. Then he wedges a chair under the handle like he's seen people do in movies, even though he's not sure it would actually stop anyone determined to get in. The apartment is one room pretending to be three. A kitchenette with a hot plate and a sink that drips no matter how tight he turns the faucet. A bathroom the size of a closet. A main space with a futon that doesn't fold flat anymore and a window that looks out at the building across the street. Khari keeps the blinds closed. He sits on the futon and pulls off his sneakers. His socks are damp with sweat. There's a blister forming on his left heel. He should change the Band-Aid, but he's too tired to dig through the box under the sink where he keeps the first aid supplies. The baby moves. A slow roll, like someone turning over in bed. Khari puts his hand on his stomach and feels the shape of a foot press against his palm. Or maybe an elbow. The ultrasound tech said it was hard to tell at this stage. He didn't go back for the follow-up appointment. The clinic sent 3 reminder calls and 2 letters before they gave up. Khari kept the letters. He's not sure why. They're in a drawer with his birth certificate and the court documents from when he aged out of foster care. The sun is coming up. Orange light filters through the gaps in the blinds, cutting stripes across the floor. Khari should sleep. He works again tonight. Double shift, probably. Marcus will be too rattled to come in and nobody else wants the overnight hours. But sleep doesn't come. Instead, Khari thinks about the way the gunman's hand tightened on the pistol. The way his voice changed when he said stay safe. The way he looked back, just before the door closed. Like he knew something Khari didn't. Khari has spent 8 years learning how to be invisible. How to keep his head down and his voice neutral and his expectations low enough that disappointment doesn't sting anymore. The system taught him that. Foster homes where he learned not to ask for seconds at dinner. Group homes where he learned to sleep light and wake fast. Caseworkers who promised things they never delivered and stopped apologizing after the first 6 months. He got good at it. Being nobody. Needing nothing. Then he missed a period. Then another. By the time he scraped together enough money for a test, it was too late for the easy options. The expensive options. The ones that didn't require waiting lists and parental consent forms that didn't apply to him but somehow still showed up in the paperwork. The clinic receptionist had kind eyes and a tired voice. She explained the process, the costs, the timeline. Khari listened and did the math in his head and understood that he was 6 weeks away from making minimum wage with a body that wouldn't fit behind a counter anymore. He left without scheduling the procedure. That was 4 months ago. Now he's running out of time in a different way. The baby is due in 12 weeks. His lease is up in 8. The building manager already told him there's a waiting list for the 2-bedroom units and his application is flagged for late payments. Khari paid what he owed plus a $50 apology fee, but the flag didn't go away. He has $900 in savings. That covers first month's rent somewhere cheaper, maybe. If he can find a landlord who doesn't run a credit check. If he can find a place that allows kids. If he can work up until the day he goes into labor and go back the week after. The math doesn't work. He knows this, but he keeps running the numbers anyway, rearranging variables that won't change no matter how many times he recalculates. His phone buzzes. Text from Marcus. You okay? Khari types back. Fine. See you tonight. Marcus sends a thumbs-up emoji. Then another text. Police said they got partial plates from the camera across the street. Might have IDs soon. Khari stares at the message. His thumb hovers over the keyboard. He doesn't know what to say. Doesn't know if he wants them to catch the gunman or if some part of him, the part he doesn't examine too closely, wants to know why one of them looked at him like that. Like recognition. Like memory. Like something personal in the middle of a crime that should have been random. He deletes 3 different responses before settling on good. The phone goes dark. Khari sets it on the floor beside the futon. Outside, the city is waking up. Car horns. Sirens. Someone's dog barking 4 floors down. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. But Khari can't shake the feeling that something has shifted. That the life he built out of low expectations and careful invisibility just cracked down the middle. And he doesn't know yet what's going to pour through. The baby kicks again. Harder this time. Khari closes his eyes and tries to sleep. He dreams about basements and zip ties and a voice he can't quite place. asking questions he doesn't know how to answer. What is it about Khari's voice that someone from his past can't forget? 3 days pass before Khari sees them again. Not the robbers. The twins. It happens during the morning rush at the diner. Khari is refilling coffee for a regular, an accountant named Jerome who always tips $2 exactly and never makes eye contact, when the door opens and the temperature in the room drops. Not literally, but everyone feels it. 2 men walk in wearing suits that cost more than Khari's rent. Identical faces. Same sharp jawline, same dark eyes, same way of moving that makes people step aside without being asked. They don't look around. They don't hesitate. They walk straight to the corner booth like they already know it's empty. Khari's hand freezes on the coffee pot. Hot liquid splashes onto the saucer. Jerome mutters something about being careful, but Khari isn't listening. He knows these men. Not from the diner. From somewhere else. Somewhere his brain won't access. Like a file corrupted and locked behind a password he never set. The twins sit. One facing the door, one facing the window. Mirror images except for the way they hold themselves. The one facing the door has his hands on the table, fingers laced. Patient. The one facing the window has one arm draped across the back of the booth, head tilted like he's listening to a conversation nobody else can hear. Marcus appears at Khari's shoulder. You good? Khari sets the coffee pot down before he drops it. Who are they? Trouble, Marcus says. His voice is low, tight. Deandre and Darius Moreau came in last week asking about the cameras. Asking about you. Khari's stomach drops. Why? Marcus doesn't answer. He's already walking toward the kitchen, moving fast for someone who usually drags his feet. Khari stands there, one hand pressed against the counter, feeling the baby shift inside him like it knows something is wrong. The twin facing the door lifts his hand. 2 fingers. A gesture so small Khari almost misses it. He's being summoned. Every instinct Khari has tells him to walk out the back door and keep going. Take the bus to the next city. Change his name again. Start over the way he's done before. But his feet move toward the booth instead. When he gets close enough to see their faces clearly, his breath catches. Because he does know them. Not their names. Not where from. But the shape of their faces. The way one of them has a scar along his jawline that's almost invisible unless you're looking for it. The one facing the door speaks first. Sit. It's not a request. Khari sits. The vinyl squeaks under his weight. His hands fall to his lap automatically, fingers twisting together. The baby kicks and he presses his palm against the spot, a reflex he can't control. The twin with the scar leans forward. You don't remember us. It's not a question either. Khari's throat is dry. Should I? The second twin, the one who was watching the window, laughs. It's a cold sound. No humor in it. He doesn't remember Deandre. Told you. Deandre. So the one with the scar is Deandre, which makes the other one Darius. Deandre doesn't take his eyes off Khari's face. 3 nights ago, 2 men came in here, held the place up. You didn't panic. Khari's pulse kicks up. The police already asked me about that. I'm not the police, Deandre says. We're not asking about the robbery, Darius adds. He's still leaning back, still relaxed, but his eyes are sharp, focused. We're asking about you. Khari doesn't understand. I don't know what you want. Deandre reaches into his jacket. Khari's body goes rigid, adrenaline spiking, but what comes out isn't a weapon. It's a phone. Deandre sets it on the table, screen facing up. The screen shows a photo. Grainy security footage from the diner. Khari standing in front of the booth, hands at his sides, face completely blank while a masked man points a gun at his chest. That's you, Deandre says. Not moving, not shaking, not doing anything a normal person would do when someone's about to kill them. Khari stares at the photo. I was scared. No, Darius says. You weren't. The word hangs in the air. Definitive. Inarguable. Khari's mouth goes dry. I don't understand what this has to do with you. Deandre taps the screen. The image changes. Another photo. This one older, the colors washed out. A basement. Concrete walls. A boy, maybe 17, sitting in a folding chair with his hands behind his back. His face is turned toward the camera. Calm. Empty. Khari's heart stops. He knows that face. He sees it every morning in the mirror. That was taken 8 years ago, Deandre says. His voice is quiet now, almost gentle. You were in a bad situation. Someone owed us money. Used you as collateral. We kept you for 3 days. Khari can't breathe. The memory is there, just out of reach. A basement that smelled like mold. Voices arguing in another room. Hands that didn't hurt him but didn't let him go either. You didn't cry, Darius says. Didn't beg. Didn't try to run even when we left the door unlocked. We thought you were in shock, Deandre continues. But you weren't. You were just waiting. Like you'd been through worse and knew how to survive it. Khari's hands are shaking now. He hides them under the table. You let me go. We did, Deandre says. Because the debt got paid. And because you were just a kid who didn't deserve to be in the middle of someone else's mess. Why are you telling me this? Khari's voice cracks. He hates the sound of it. Deandre leans back. Because 3 nights ago, one of my men came in here to rob this place. And when he got back, he told me there was a pregnant man working the night shift who didn't panic. Who spoke in the same calm voice I remembered from 8 years ago. Darius picks up where his brother left off. So we pulled the footage. Ran your face through our system. And there you were. Khari Bennett. 25 years old. No family. No record. No one looking for you. Khari feels like the floor is tilting. What do you want from me? Deandre and Darius exchange a look. Some silent communication passes between them. Then Deandre pulls the phone back and tucks it into his jacket. Nothing, he says. Yet. He stands. Darius follows. They move in sync, 2 halves of the same whole. We'll be in touch, Deandre says. Then they walk out. The door closes behind them. The diner goes back to normal. Conversations resume. Plates clatter. Jerome asks for more coffee. Khari sits in the booth, hands pressed flat against his stomach, feeling the baby kick and kick and kick like it's trying to get his attention. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. The text is short. Just 4 words. Stay out of trouble. Khari deletes it. Then he gets up and goes back to work, because he doesn't know what else to do. But his hands don't stop shaking for the rest of his shift. Why would 2 men who held him captive 8 years ago suddenly decide to protect him now? Khari doesn't go home after his shift. He takes the bus to the clinic instead. The one on 5th Street with the peeling paint and the waiting room that smells like disinfectant and old magazines. He hasn't been back since they sent the last reminder letter, but his next appointment is in 3 days and he needs to reschedule before they drop him from the system entirely. The receptionist is new. Young, with blue hair and a nose ring. She types his name into the computer and frowns. You missed your last 2 appointments. I know, Khari says. I'm here to fix that. She prints out a form. There's a cancellation fee. How much? $50. Khari reaches for his wallet. The money is there. Barely. He hands it over and watches her count it twice before putting it in the cash box. Next available is 2 weeks out, she says. That puts you at 28 weeks. They'll want to do the glucose test. Khari nods. He knows what that means. More needles. More waiting rooms. More forms asking about the father's medical history that he'll leave blank because he doesn't have answers. The appointment card is pale blue. She writes the date and time in careful print and slides it across the counter. Khari tucks it into his pocket next to the text message he should have deleted but didn't. Outside, the sky is gray. It's going to rain. Khari can feel it in the pressure behind his eyes, the way his joints ache more than usual. He pulls his hood up and starts walking. He doesn't have a destination, just movement. 1 foot in front of the other. The sidewalk is cracked in places, weeds growing through the concrete. A woman pushes a stroller past him. A man in a suit talks too loud on his phone. Normal people doing normal things. Khari isn't sure he remembers how to be normal. The twins changed something. Not just by showing up. By knowing. By remembering. by looking at him like he's a problem they haven't solved yet. He turns down a side street. Quieter here, less traffic. The buildings are older, brick and mortar instead of glass and steel. Some of them are boarded up. Others have signs in the windows. For lease. Going out of business. Closed until further notice. Khari stops in front of a pawn shop. The window display is half empty. A guitar with broken strings. A watch with a cracked face. A wedding ring on a velvet cushion. He's about to keep walking when he sees his reflection in the glass. Tired eyes. Hoodie 2 sizes too big. Stretched over his stomach. Posture that says don't look at me, don't ask questions, don't expect anything. He looks exactly like someone who would disappear and nobody would notice. The thought should be comforting. It's kept him alive this long. But right now it just makes him feel hollow. His phone buzzes. Another unknown number. Another text. Corner of 5th and Market. 10 minutes. Khari stares at the message. Every part of him says don't go. This is how people end up in basements again. This is how bad situations get worse. But he's already walking. The corner of 5th and Market is a coffee shop. Small. Local. The kind of place that uses mismatched furniture and charges $6 for a latte. Khari pushes through the door and the smell hits him. Fresh roast. Cinnamon. Something baking in the back. Deandre is sitting at a table near the window. Alone this time. No Darius. No suit jacket. Just a black shirt and the same watchful expression he wore at the diner. Khari sits across from him without being asked. You came, Deandre says. You told me to. I suggested. There's a difference. Khari doesn't respond. He's learning that silence is safer than saying the wrong thing. Deandre signals the barista. A moment later, she brings over 2 cups. Coffee for him. Herbal tea for Khari. Chamomile from the smell. You don't drink coffee anymore, Deandre says. Pregnancy. Khari wraps his hands around the cup. The warmth seeps into his palms. How do you know that? I pay attention. That's not an answer. Deandre almost smiles. Almost. You're right. It's not. They sit in silence for a moment. Outside, the rain starts. Fat drops that hit the window and slide down in crooked lines. Khari watches them and tries to figure out what game is being played here. Why did you text me? He asks finally. Because you need to understand something, Deandre says. The robbery the other night wasn't random. Khari's chest tightens. What do you mean? My brother and I own things. Businesses. Properties. The diner where you work is one of them. Khari sets the cup down. You own the diner? Through a holding company. Marcus doesn't know. Neither does the district manager. But yes, we own it. Then why? Why did 2 of my men rob it? Deandre finishes. They didn't. Those weren't my men. Khari's head is spinning. Then who were they? Competition, Deandre says. Trying to send a message. They hit 3 of our locations in the last month. Small jobs. Just enough to make us look weak. I don't understand what this has to do with me. Deandre leans forward. When my guy came back and told me about you, I pulled the footage. And I remembered. The kid from 8 years ago who didn't break. Who sat in that basement and didn't give us anything to work with. I still don't understand. You're calm under pressure, Deandre says. You don't panic. You don't crack. That's rare. Khari's skin goes cold. You want to use me for something. No, Deandre says. I want to make sure you stay safe. Why? The question comes out sharper than Khari intended. Deandre doesn't flinch. Because the people who robbed that diner are going to escalate. And when they do, they're going to remember the pregnant man who didn't scream. They're going to wonder if you saw something. If you can identify them. Khari's hands tighten on the cup. I can't. I know. But they don't. The rain picks up. Hammering against the window now. The coffee shop feels smaller. Warmer. Too close. What do you want from me? Khari asks again. Deandre reaches into his pocket and pulls out a card. Plain white. No logo. Just a phone number written in black ink. If anything happens, he says. If anyone approaches you, if you feel unsafe, you call this number. Khari takes the card. It's heavier than it should be. And then what? Then I make sure you're protected. Why would you do that? Deandre stands. He drops cash on the table. Enough to cover both drinks and a tip that's probably more than the barista makes in an hour. Because 8 years ago I made a choice to let you go, he says. And I don't make the same mistake twice. He walks out before Khari can ask what that means. Khari sits alone in the coffee shop, holding a card with a phone number he doesn't trust and a cup of tea that's gone cold. Outside, someone walks past the window. Dark jacket. Hood up. They pause. Turn their head toward the glass. Khari can't see their face, but he feels the weight of their stare. Then they keep walking. The card burns in Khari's pocket like a promise he didn't ask for. Is Deandre really trying to protect Khari? Or is this just another cage with better lighting? The man in the dark jacket comes back 2 days later. Khari is stocking shelves in the convenience store 3 blocks from his apartment. Second job. 4 hours a night, 3 nights a week. Minimum wage and no benefits, but it's quiet and the owner doesn't ask questions. He's crouched in front of the cereal aisle, counting boxes, when he hears the door chime. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. The kind that announce themselves. Khari doesn't look up. He keeps counting. 17. 19. The footsteps stop at the end of the aisle. You work here too? Male voice. Unfamiliar. Khari glances over his shoulder. The man is average height. Jeans and a gray hoodie. Hands in his pockets. Face that could belong to anyone. Except his eyes are wrong. Too focused. Too still. Can I help you find something? Khari asks. Customer service voice. Neutral. Safe. Just looking. The man doesn't move. You're Khari, right? Khari stands slowly. His back protests. The baby is sitting heavy tonight, pressing on his bladder and making it hard to bend. Do I know you? Not yet. The man smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. But I've been hearing about you. Khari's hand drifts to his pocket. The card Deandre gave him is there, folded once. He hasn't called the number. Hasn't decided if he's going to. Hearing what? Khari keeps his voice level. That you're smart. That you keep your head down. That you saw something you maybe shouldn't have. The air in the store feels thinner. Khari's pulse kicks up, but he keeps his breathing steady. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. I didn't see anything, Khari says. That's what everyone says. The man takes a step closer. But the thing is, even when you don't see things, sometimes you hear them. Voices. Details. The kind of things that help people make connections. Khari's fingers close around the card in his pocket. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. The man pulls his hand from his pocket. Empty. But the gesture makes Khari's muscles lock anyway. Just wanted to introduce myself. Let you know I'm around. In case you remember anything useful. I won't. You might. The man's smile widens. People remember things when they're motivated. When they have something to lose. He looks pointedly at Khari's stomach. The threat is clear. Unmistakable. Khari doesn't move. Doesn't react. Just stands there with his hand in his pocket. Fingers pressed against the card. And waits. The man holds his gaze for another 5 seconds. Then he turns and walks toward the door. The chime rings. The street swallows him. Khari stands in the cereal aisle, heart pounding, hands shaking, and pulls out his phone. He stares at Deandre's number for a long time before he finally makes the call. It rings once. Where are you? Deandre's voice. No greeting. Just the question. Convenience store. 3rd and Oak. Stay there. I'm 10 minutes out. The line goes dead. Khari slides down to sit on the floor, back against the shelf. The baby moves. A sharp jab to his ribs. He presses his hand against the spot and closes his eyes. Somewhere outside, footsteps echo on pavement. And Khari waits. When the most dangerous person in the room offers protection, how do you know if you're being saved or claimed? Deandre arrives in a black SUV with windows tinted dark enough to be illegal. Khari is still sitting on the floor when the store owner, Mr. Park, taps his shoulder and points to the door. Through the glass, Khari can see two figures standing beside the vehicle. Deandre and Darius, both scanning the street like they're looking for threats. Khari pushes himself up. His knees crack. The baby shifts, pressing against his bladder. He needs to use the bathroom, but there's no time. Mr. Park is watching him with narrowed eyes. "Those men friends of yours?" "Something like that," Khari says. "They look like trouble." "They are." Khari walks out before Mr. Park can ask more questions. The night air is cold. His breath comes out in clouds. Deandre sees him first and moves forward, one hand extended like he's going to help Khari down the step. Khari ignores the gesture and manages on his own. "Tell me exactly what he said," Deandre says. "No greeting. No small talk." Khari repeats the conversation word for word. He's good at that. Remembering. It's a survival skill he picked up early. People get angry when you misquote them. Darius is on his phone, typing fast. "Got 3 possibles in the area. Running them now." Description, Deandre says to Khari. Average height, gray hoodie, jeans, brown eyes, scar on his left hand, between the thumb and first finger. Darius looks up. "You sure about the scar?" "I'm sure." The twins exchange a look. Some silent conversation Khari isn't part of. Then Darius makes a call. He walks 10 feet away, voice low, words clipped. Deandre puts a hand on Khari's shoulder. The touch is brief. "Careful. You're coming with us." "Where?" "Somewhere safe." Khari steps back. The hand falls away. "I have work tomorrow. I have rent due in 6 days. I can't just disappear." "You can't stay here either," Deandre says. "Not tonight. Not until we figure out who sent that man and what they know." "I don't even know you," Khari says. The words come out harder than he means them. "You held me in a basement 8 years ago. Now you show up and expect me to trust you." "No," Deandre says. "I expect you to be smart enough to know when you're out of options." The truth of it lands heavy. Khari looks back at the convenience store. Mr. Park is watching through the window. He'll tell Khari not to come back. Too much drama. Too much risk. That's 2 jobs gone in 1 week. "What do you want from me?" Khari asks. 3rd time he's asked that question. He still doesn't have an answer that makes sense. "I told you," Deandre says. "I want you safe." "Why?" Darius comes back before Deandre can answer. "Car's clean. Route's clear. We move now." Deandre opens the back door of the SUV. The interior is leather and chrome. Smells like expensive cologne and gun oil. Khari climbs in because he doesn't know what else to do. The ride is silent. Khari watches the city pass through the window. Familiar streets give way to unfamiliar ones. The buildings get taller, newer, the kind of neighborhood where people don't work night shifts at diners. They stop in front of a high-rise, glass and steel, a doorman in a uniform, security cameras every 10 feet. "This is where you live?" Khari asks. "One of the places," Darius says. They take an elevator to the 20th floor. The hallway is wide enough to drive a car through. Thick carpet. Art on the walls that probably costs more than Khari will make in his entire life. Deandre unlocks a door at the end of the hall. The apartment inside is massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Kitchen with appliances Khari doesn't recognize. Furniture that looks like it belongs in a magazine. "Guest room is down the hall," Deandre says. "Bathrooms attached. There's food in the fridge. Help yourself." Khari stands in the entryway, hands hanging useless at his sides. "I can't stay here." "You can," Deandre says. "And you will. At least for tonight. And tomorrow? We'll figure it out." Darius is already on his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Got a hit on the scar. Name's Javon Cross. Works freelance. Been linked to 4 different crews in the last year." "Who's he working for now?" Deandre asks. "Still running it." Darius doesn't look up. "But if I had to guess, the same people who hit the diner." Khari's chest tightens. What do they want with me? Information, Deandre says. Or leverage. Maybe both. I don't have information. They don't know that. Deandre moves to the window, looks out at the city like he's searching for something specific. They see a pregnant man who stayed calm during a robbery, who works 2 jobs and keeps his head down, who doesn't have anyone looking out for him. So I'm an easy target. You were, Deandre says. He turns back to face Khari. Not anymore. The words should be reassuring. They're not, because Khari is starting to understand that protection comes with a price. Always has. Always will. What do you get out of this? Khari asks. Peace of mind, Deandre says. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight. Khari wants to argue, wants to walk out, but his feet hurt and his back aches and the baby is kicking hard enough to make his ribs throb. He's tired, bone deep, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. One night, he says. One night, Deandre agrees. The guest room is bigger than Khari's entire apartment. King-size bed, windows that overlook the city, a bathroom with a tub deep enough to drown in. Khari sits on the edge of the bed and pulls off his shoes. His socks are damp again. The blister on his heel has opened. He should clean it, but he's too exhausted to move. His phone buzzes. Text from Mr. Park. Don't come back. Khari deletes it. Adds the number to his mental list of things he's lost. Job. Safety. The illusion that he could stay invisible forever. He lies back on the bed. The ceiling is smooth white. No water stains. No cracks. No peeling paint. Through the door, he can hear Deandre and Darius talking. Low voices. Serious tones. Planning something he's not part of but definitely involves him. The baby kicks. Once. Twice. 3 times. Khari puts both hands on his stomach and closes his eyes. Outside, 20 floors down, the city keeps moving. People going to work. Coming home. Living lives that don't include men in gray hoodies making threats in convenience stores. Khari used to have a life like that. Before the basement. Before the diner. Before 2 twins decided he was worth remembering. Now he's in a stranger's guest room, wearing clothes that smell like sweat and fear, waiting to find out what comes next. His phone buzzes again. Unknown number. The message is short. Just 2 words. Wrong choice. Khari's hands start shaking. He deletes the text, but the words stay burned in his mind. Through the wall, he hears Deandre's voice rise. Not angry, urgent. Then footsteps in the hallway, moving fast. A knock on the door. Khari, we need to talk. Khari sits up. His heart is pounding. The baby kicks again, harder this time, like it knows something he doesn't. He opens the door. Deandre is standing there with his phone in his hand and an expression Khari can't read. They just sent a photo, Deandre says. He turns the phone around. The image is grainy but clear enough. Khari's apartment building. 4th floor window. The blinds are open even though Khari always keeps them closed. Someone has been inside. How do you run from people who already know where you sleep? The housing authority office smells like burnt coffee and government despair. Khari sits in a plastic chair that's bolted to the floor, holding a number that's 23 people away from being called. His appointment was at 9. It's now 11:30. The clerk at the front desk hasn't looked up from her computer in 40 minutes. Deandre wanted him to stay at the apartment. Wanted to send people to pack up his things and move him somewhere safer. Khari refused. Some choices have to be his own even when they're bad ones. So he's here, trying to get his name moved up on the waiting list for family housing. Trying to prove he's stable enough to qualify for a 2-bedroom unit, even though he just lost another job and his bank account has $600 left. The woman next to him is breastfeeding. The baby is maybe 3 months old. Tiny fists and dark curls. The woman looks exhausted. She catches Khari staring and smiles. How far along? She asks. 7 months, Khari says. First one. Yeah. It gets easier, she says. Then she laughs. Bitter. That's a lie. It gets different. Her number gets called. She stands, adjusts the baby, and walks to window 3. Khari watches her go and wonders if that's his future. Waiting rooms and plastic chairs and lies people tell to make the hard parts sound manageable. His phone buzzes. Text from Darius. "You still at the office?" Khari types back. "Yeah." Another buzz. "We found Javon Cross. He's not talking but his bank records are." Khari waits. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, "Someone paid him $5,000 to scare you. Wire transfer from an offshore account. Still tracing it." Khari's stomach drops. $5,000. That's not random. That's intentional. That's someone with resources deciding he's worth the investment. "Who?" he types. "Don't know yet, but we will." The clerk calls his number. Finally, Khari stands and walks to window 6. The woman behind the glass is 50-something with reading glasses on a chain and a name tag that says Patricia. "Application number," she says without looking up. Khari gives it to her. She types. Frowns. Types more. "You're flagged," she says. "I paid the late fees," Khari says. 2 months ago. "Not for that." She tilts her monitor so he can see. Red text. System alert. "You've been flagged for review. Security concern." Khari's blood goes cold. What does that mean? "It means your application is on hold pending investigation." Patricia looks at him over her glasses. "Have you been involved in any criminal activity?" "No." "Any association with known criminal organizations?" Khari thinks about Deandre and Darius. About the SUV and the high-rise apartment and the way they move through the world like they own it. "No," he says. Patricia doesn't look convinced. "The flag was placed this morning by the city's fraud prevention unit. They're reviewing all your documents, bank statements, employment history, references." "How long will that take?" 4 to 6 weeks. Khari's hands tighten on the edge of the counter. "My lease ends in 5 weeks. You'll need to find alternative housing until the review is complete. I'm 7 months pregnant. I can't just—" "I'm sorry," Patricia says, and she actually sounds like she means it. "But the flag is automatic. I can't override it." Khari stands there for a long moment. Then he turns and walks out. The hallway is fluorescent bright. Too many people. Too much noise. He makes it to the bathroom before his hands start shaking. The stall is too small. The walls press in. Khari sits on the closed toilet lid and puts his head between his knees and breathes. In. The baby kicks. A reminder that he doesn't get to fall apart. Not yet. Not when someone is depending on him. His phone rings. "Deandre." Khari answers. "They flagged my housing application." Silence on the other end. Then, "When?" "This morning." "That's not coincidence." Deandre's voice is tight. "Someone's cutting off your exits. Making sure you can't run." "Why?" "Because they want you desperate. Desperate people make mistakes." Khari closes his eyes. "What kind of mistakes?" "The kind where you agree to things you shouldn't. Where you trust people you don't know. Where you end up somewhere you can't get out of." "Like a basement," Khari says quietly. "Yeah," Deandre says. "Like that." Footsteps in the bathroom. Someone enters the stall next to his. Khari lowers his voice. "What do I do?" "You come back here. You stay put. You let us handle this. I can't just hide in your apartment." "Why not?" "Because it's not mine." The words come out sharper than Khari intends. "Because I don't know what you want from me and I don't know if I can afford to pay it." Deandre is quiet for a moment. "You think I'm trying to trap you?" "I think everyone wants something," Khari says. "And the nicer they are about it, the more it costs." "Fair enough." Deandre's voice changes. Softer. Almost gentle. "But here's the thing, Khari. You can keep running. Keep trying to do this alone. Keep believing that if you're quiet enough and small enough, the world will leave you alone. But it won't, because you're already on someone's radar. And they're not going to stop until they get what they want." "And what do they want?" "I don't know yet," Deandre says. "But I'm going to find out. With or without your permission." The line goes dead. Khari sits in the bathroom stall and listens to the fluorescent lights hum and the pipes rattle and someone washing their hands at the sink. When he finally stands, his legs are numb. His back screams. The baby shifts, settling lower, pressing on nerves that make his hips ache. He walks out of the housing authority office and stands on the sidewalk, unsure where to go next. His apartment isn't safe. The high-rise isn't his. Every job he's had is gone or going. Every system he relied on is collapsing or already collapsed. A car pulls up to the curb. Black sedan. Window rolls down. Darius is driving. "Get in," he says. Khari doesn't move. "I didn't call you." Deandre did. Darius leans across the seat. "Look, you can stand here and pretend you have options. Or you can get in the car and let us help you figure this out. Your choice." Khari looks down the street. People walking. Cars passing. Normal lives continuing like the world isn't actively trying to break him. He gets in the car. They drive in silence. Not back to the high-rise. Somewhere else. Industrial area. Warehouses and chain-link fences. Darius parks in front of a building with no signs. Just a number painted on the door. "Where are we?" Khari asks. "Neutral ground," Darius says. Inside, the warehouse is mostly empty. Concrete floors. High ceilings. A single desk near the back with a laptop and 3 monitors. Deandre is waiting. He's not alone. A woman stands beside him. Tall. Dark skin. Hair in locks pulled back from her face. She's wearing a suit that costs more than Khari's rent and an expression that says she doesn't tolerate nonsense. "This is Imani," Deandre says. "She's our attorney." Imani steps forward. Extends a hand. Khari shakes it. Her grip is firm. Professional. "I've been looking into your housing situation," she says. "The flag on your application was placed by someone with access to city systems. Someone who knows how to manipulate bureaucracy." "Who?" Khari asks. "That's what we're trying to figure out." Imani pulls a file from her briefcase. Opens it. Inside are photos. Documents. Bank statements that aren't his. "These were attached to your fraud review," she says. "Transactions you never made. Employment at companies you never worked for. All designed to make you look unstable." Khari stares at the papers. "Why would someone do this?" "To isolate you," Imani says. "To make sure you have nowhere to go except wherever they want you." "Which is where?" Imani and Deandre exchange a look. Then Deandre speaks. "6 weeks ago there was a shipment. High value. My brother and I were supposed to receive it. It never arrived. The driver disappeared. The cargo vanished. No trace. What does that have to do with me?" "The driver's name was Marcus," Deandre says. Khari's heart stops. "My Marcus? From the diner." "Different Marcus. But he worked at the diner too. Same night shift. Same hours." The pieces start clicking together. Wrong pieces. Pieces that don't fit the picture Khari thought he was looking at. "You think I know something," Khari says slowly. "I think someone thinks you know something," Deandre corrects. "Whether you actually do or not doesn't matter. They believe you're connected. And they're willing to destroy your life to find out." Khari sits down. Doesn't mean to. His legs just stop working. The baby kicks. Hard. Angry. "I don't know anything," Khari says. "I work. I go home. I try to survive. That's it." "I believe you," Deandre says. "But the people coming after you don't care about the truth. They care about closing loose ends. So what do I do?" Imani closes the file. "You let us protect you. You trust us to handle this. And you stay alive long enough for us to find out who's pulling the strings." "And if I don't trust you? Then you're on your own," Imani says. "Simple. Matter of fact. And based on what I've seen, you'll be dead or disappeared within a week." The words land like a punch. Khari looks at Deandre, at Darius, at Imani with her expensive suit and her manila file full of lies. He thinks about basements and zip ties and voices asking questions he couldn't answer. He thinks about the baby, about being born into a world where his parent is already running. One condition, Khari says. Name it, Deandre says. I want the truth. All of it. No more vague answers. No more protection without explanation. You want me to trust you? Earn it. Deandre is quiet for a long moment. Then he nods. Deal. Imani pulls out another document. Then we start with this. A protection agreement. Legal. Binding. It guarantees your safety and outlines our responsibilities. Read it. Sign it if you agree. Khari takes the paper. His hands are shaking, but he reads every word. Outside, a car pulls up. Doors slam. Voices shouting. Darius moves to the window. We've got company. Deandre's hand goes to his waist. When it comes back, he's holding a gun. Get him to the back room, he tells Imani. But before anyone can move, the warehouse door explodes inward. When the cage breaks open, do you run toward freedom or toward the only people who claim they can keep you alive? 3 men storm through the shattered door with guns drawn. Khari doesn't think. His body moves on autopilot, dropping behind the desk as bullets punch holes in the concrete wall behind him. The sound is deafening. Louder than movies make it seem. Louder than memory. Imani grabs his arm, pulling him toward a door at the back of the warehouse. Darius is already firing back, methodical and calm. Deandre moves like water, fluid and fast, putting himself between the shooters and Khari. They make it to the back room. Imani slams the door, throws a bolt that looks too thin to stop anything. This way, she says. The room is small. Storage space. Boxes stacked against one wall. A single window too high to reach. But there's another door, half hidden behind shelving units. Imani shoves the shelves aside with strength that surprises Khari. The door opens to a stairwell. Down. They go down. Behind them, gunfire continues. Shouting. Something crashes. The stairs end in a tunnel. Old. Brick walls slick with moisture. Pipes running along the ceiling. Emergency lights every 20 feet casting everything in sickly yellow. Keep moving, Imani says. She's on her phone, speaking in clipped sentences. East Tunnel. 3 hostiles. Yes. Now. They run. Or Imani runs and Khari does his best to keep up. His body isn't built for this anymore. The baby sits low, throwing off his balance. His ankles are weak. His lungs burn. But fear is a powerful motivator. The tunnel branches. Imani takes the left path without hesitating. Khari follows because he doesn't have a choice. Behind them, footsteps echo. Multiple sets. Getting closer. How much farther? Khari gasps. 200 yards, Imani says. They don't have 200 yards. A voice shouts from behind them. Stop running. We just want to talk. Imani doesn't slow down. Neither does Khari. The tunnel opens into a larger space. Some kind of junction point. 3 passages leading off in different directions. A ladder against one wall leading up to a manhole cover. Up, Imani says. Khari looks at the ladder. Looks at his stomach. Looks at Imani. I can't. You can. She's already climbing. Move. Khari grabs the rungs. They're cold. Rusty. His hands slip. He adjusts his grip and pulls himself up. 1 rung. 2. The baby shifts and his balance goes wrong. He freezes. Don't stop. Imani calls from above. Khari keeps climbing. His shoulders scream. His back threatens to give out. But he climbs. The manhole cover scrapes open. Light floods in. Street level. Imani reaches down, grabs Khari's hand, and hauls him up with surprising strength. They're in an alley. Downtown. Office buildings on both sides. People walking past the alley entrance. Oblivious. A black SUV screeches to a stop at the curb. Back door flies open. Get in. Deandre shouts from the driver's seat. Khari doesn't ask questions. He climbs in. Imani follows. The door isn't even closed before Deandre floors it. They weave through traffic. Running lights. Taking corners too fast. Darius is in the passenger seat. Phone pressed to his ear. Talking in rapid-fire sentences. Khari sits in the back. Hands pressed against his stomach. Trying to catch his breath. Is everyone okay? He finally asks. We're fine, Deandre says. His voice is tight, controlled. You? I think so. Khari's hands are shaking. He presses them harder against his belly. The baby hasn't moved since they left the warehouse. The baby's not kicking. Deandre's eyes flick to the rearview mirror. How long? Since the tunnel. Khari's voice cracks. It always kicks, especially when I move fast. Darius, Deandre says. Find the nearest hospital. On it. They pull up to an emergency room 7 minutes later. Deandre is out of the car before it fully stops. He opens Khari's door, offers a hand. This time, Khari takes it. The ER is chaos. Nurses moving fast. Machines beeping. Someone crying in a curtained bed. Deandre walks straight to the desk like he owns the place. He's pregnant. 7 months. The baby stopped moving. The nurse doesn't ask questions. She grabs a wheelchair. Sit. Khari sits. She wheels him back immediately, past the waiting room full of people who've been there for hours, through double doors into a treatment area. A doctor appears. Young. Southeast Asian. Competent hands and kind eyes. I'm Dr. Nguyen. Let's get you on the monitor. They lift Khari onto a bed. Pull up his shirt. The gel is cold. The monitor's wand presses against his skin. Searching. For 5 seconds that feel like 5 years, there's nothing. Then a sound. Fast. Rhythmic. Strong. The baby's heartbeat. Khari's eyes close. His own heart is pounding so hard it hurts. 162, Dr. Nguyen says. That's perfect. The baby is fine. Why wasn't it moving? Khari asks. Sometimes they sleep. Sometimes they're positioned wrong. Sometimes they just need a minute. She presses a few buttons. The screen shows grainy images. A head, a spine, a foot. Everything looks good, but I want to keep you for observation. A few hours. Make sure there's no distress. Khari nods. Can't speak. Can't do anything but stare at the monitor and listen to that sound. Dr. Nguyen leaves. Promises to check back in 30 minutes. Deandre is standing in the doorway. He doesn't come in. Just watches. Thank you, Khari says. Don't thank me yet, Deandre says. This isn't over. Who were those men? We're still identifying them. But they knew where we'd be. They knew about the warehouse. That's not public information. So someone told them. Someone on our side, Deandre says. His jaw is tight. Which means we have a problem bigger than I thought. Khari's hand rests on his stomach. The baby kicks. Once. Twice. Like it's announcing it's still here. Still fighting. I need to ask you something, Deandre says. And I need you to think carefully before you answer. Okay. That night at the diner. The robbery. Did either of those men say anything specific? Anything about why they were there? Khari closes his eyes. Replays the memory. Gun. Mask. Young voice cracking. Stay safe. The second one, Khari says slowly. When he told me to stay safe, it wasn't a threat. It was a warning. A warning about what? I don't know. But the way he said it, like he knew something I didn't. Like he was trying to tell me to be careful without saying why. Deandre pulls out his phone. Shows Khari a photo. Is this him? The photo shows a young man. Early 20s. Dark skin. Nervous smile. Standing next to an older woman, probably his mother. Khari studies the face. I can't tell. He was wearing a mask. His name is Terrell. He's one of ours. Or he was. Deandre's expression is hard. He disappeared the same night as the robbery. We found his car this morning. Empty. No sign of struggle. You think he's the one who warned me? I think he knew something was coming. And instead of coming to us, he tried to handle it himself. The monitor beeps. The baby's heartbeat steady and strong. Khari looks at Deandre. Really looks at him. Past the expensive clothes and the cold exterior. At the tension in his shoulders. The exhaustion around his eyes. You care about him, Khari says. Terrell. He's family, Deandre says. Simple. Final. And someone took him. The same people who came after me. Probably. Khari's hand tightens on the blanket. So what happens now? Now you rest. You let the doctors make sure you and the baby are okay. And then we figure out our next move. Which is? Deandre's smile is cold. We stop running. And we start hunting. A nurse comes in, checks Khari's vitals, adjusts the monitor, tells him to try to sleep. After she leaves, Khari looks at Deandre again. Why are you really doing this? Don't tell me it's because you remember me. Don't tell me it's about protecting your investment or closing loose ends. Tell me the truth. Deandre is quiet for a long time. Then he sits in the chair beside the bed. 8 years ago, I made a choice. I let you go when I should have kept you, because you were just a kid and you didn't deserve to be in that situation. I thought letting you walk away was the right thing to do. It was, Khari says. Maybe, but I've spent 8 years wondering what happened to you. If you made it out okay, if you found somewhere safe, and then you show up in that diner, still alone, still struggling, still trying to survive on your own. And I realized my choice didn't save you. It just delayed this. Delayed what? The moment when you'd need someone in your corner. And I decided that this time, I'm not walking away. The words hang in the air between them. Khari wants to argue, wants to say he doesn't need anyone. But the lie won't come. Okay, he says instead. Okay, I'll trust you. For now. Deandre nods. Stands. Get some rest. I'll be right outside. He's almost to the door when Khari speaks again. Deandre. Yeah. If you find Terrell, if you find out who took him, what are you going to do? Deandre's expression doesn't change. Whatever I have to. Then he's gone. Khari lies in the hospital bed, listening to his baby's heartbeat on the monitor, and understands with perfect clarity that he just chose a side. Now he has to live with the consequences. When you finally stop running, the real fight begins. Khari is released from the hospital 6 hours later with instructions to rest and a prescription for prenatal vitamins he can't afford. Deandre pays for everything without asking. The bill, the medication, even the taxi that would have taken Khari home if he still had a home to go to. They don't go back to the high-rise. Too exposed, Deandre says. Too easy to track. Instead, they drive to a house in the suburbs. Single story. Quiet street. Normal enough to be invisible. Safe house, Darius explains as he unlocks the door. One of 6 we keep for situations like this. Inside, the house is furnished but impersonal. Couch, table, TV, everything functional, nothing personal. The kind of place that exists to be forgotten. Bedrooms down the hall, Darius says. Bathrooms attached. Kitchens stocked. We'll be in shifts. One of us here at all times. Khari nods. Too tired to argue. Too tired to care. He goes to the bedroom. Sits on the edge of the bed. Pulls off his shoes. The blister on his heel has opened again. There's blood on his sock. A knock on the door. Amani. Can I come in? Khari nods. She enters carrying a folder. Always a folder. We need to talk about next steps. I thought next steps were rest and staying alive. Those too. She sits in the chair by the window. But we also need to talk about what happens after. When this is resolved. You mean if I survive? You will, Imani says. No hesitation. Like it's a fact, not a hope. But surviving and living are different things. You need a plan. She opens the folder. Inside are documents, legal papers, housing applications, job listings. I've been working on this while you were in the hospital, she says. Clean slate, new application for housing, no flags this time. I have connections, references lined up, employment opportunities that don't require night shifts or standing for 8 hours. Khari stares at the papers. Why? Because Deandre asked me to. And because you deserve better than what you've been settling for. I wasn't settling. I was surviving. There's a difference? Imani asks. Khari doesn't have an answer. Look, Imani says. I know this feels like charity, like pity, but it's not. It's an investment. In you. In the baby. In the idea that people can actually get help when they need it. What do you get out of it? Sleep at night, Imani says. And a win against a system that's designed to chew up people like you and spit them out. She stands. Leaves the folder on the bed. Read through it. Let me know if you have questions. After she leaves, Khari picks up the folder. Flips through the pages. Each one represents something he thought was impossible. Stability. Safety. A future that doesn't involve running. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. Again. The text is longer this time. You made your choice. Now everyone pays for it. Starting with Terrell. Below the text is a photo. Terrell. Tied to a chair. Blood on his face. Eyes open but unfocused. Khari's hands start shaking. He calls Deandre. Picks up on the first ring. What's wrong? They have him. Terrell. They just sent a photo. Forward it to me. Khari does. Here's Deandre curse on the other end. Where are you right now? Deandre asks. In the bedroom. Why? Stay there. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me or Darius. What's happening? They're escalating. Trying to draw us out. Is it going to work? Deandre is quiet for a moment. Yeah, it is. The line goes dead. Khari sits on the bed, holding his phone, staring at the photo of Terrell, a kid who tried to warn him, who got caught in the middle of something that started before either of them knew what they were dealing with. 20 minutes later, Deandre appears in the doorway. He's changed clothes. All black, tactical gear, gun visible at his hip. We found the location, he says. Warehouse district. Same area we were this morning. They're baiting you. I know. You're going anyway. I have to. Deandre steps into the room. But I need something from you first. What? I need you to promise me that no matter what happens, you'll stay here. That you'll let Imani take care of you. That you'll accept the help we're offering. I don't understand. If this goes wrong, Deandre says. If we don't come back, I need to know you and the baby will be okay. Khari's throat tightens. Nothing's going to happen to you. You don't know that. Neither do you. Deandre's expression softens. Just slightly. Promise me, Khari. I promise. Deandre nods. Starts to leave. Stops. For what it's worth, he says. I'm glad we found you again. I'm glad I got a chance to do this right. Then he's gone. Khari sits in the silence, listening to the house settle around him. Footsteps. Voices. Car doors slamming. Then nothing. He picks up the folder Imani left. Reads through every page. Studies each form. Each opportunity. Each chance at a life he didn't think he could have. The baby kicks. Strong and insistent. I know, Khari whispers. I'm scared too. Outside, night falls. Hours pass. Khari doesn't sleep. Can't sleep. Just sits and waits and tries not to imagine all the ways this could go wrong. His phone rings at 2 in the morning. Imani. They're back, she says. Both of them. Terrell too. We're coming to get you. Are they okay? Deandre took a bullet to the shoulder. Darius is fine. Terrell needs a hospital, but he'll live. Relief floods through Khari so fast it makes him dizzy. When they arrive, Deandre looks exhausted. Pale. His left arm is in a sling. But he's alive. We got them, he says. All three. The people who were after you. It's over. Khari doesn't believe him at first. Can't believe him. Just like that. Not just like that, but it's done. You're safe now. The words should feel like victory. Instead, they feel like the end of a story Khari didn't know he was in the middle of. What happens now? He asks. Now you rest, Deandre says. And when you're ready, you start over. For real this time. Khari looks at this man who held him captive 8 years ago and somehow became the person who saved him now. At Darius, who's been silent but steady through everything. At Imani with her folders and her connections and her refusal to let systems win. Thank you, Khari says, and means it. Deandre nods. Get some sleep. We'll talk in the morning. They leave him in the safe house. Alone but not alone. Protected. Safe. Khari lies down on the bed, puts both hands on his stomach, feels the baby move, and for the first time in 8 years, he lets himself believe that maybe tomorrow will actually be better. Sometimes the people who see you at your worst become the ones who fight hardest for your future. 3 months later, Khari stands in the doorway of a 2-bedroom apartment and tries to remember what hope feels like. The walls are cream-colored, clean, no cracks, no water stains. The kitchen has new appliances. The bathroom has a tub that drains properly. The second bedroom is small but perfect, already furnished with a crib and a changing table and a rocking chair that Imani insisted on buying. You going to stand there all day or actually come inside? Darius asks. He's carrying the last box from the truck. Khari's entire life fits in 6 boxes. It should be depressing. Instead, it feels like possibility. Khari steps inside. The apartment smells like fresh paint and new beginnings. Sunlight streams through the windows. Real windows with blinds that work and locks that actually lock. It's perfect, Khari says quietly. It's yours, Darius corrects. Lease is in your name. Imani made sure of it. Speaking of whom, Imani appears from the bedroom. I set up the crib. Terrell is bringing the rest of the baby supplies this afternoon. Terrell, who survived, who healed, who decided to stick around and help instead of running the way most people would. The baby kicks. Hard. Khari puts a hand on his stomach. He's 36 weeks now. Due any day. Dr. Nguyen says everything looks good. Healthy. Normal. A word Khari is learning to believe applies to him too. Deandre arrives an hour later. His arm is out of the sling now. Healed. He looks around the apartment with an expression Khari can't quite read. You did good, Deandre says. You did good, Khari corrects. This is all you. No, this is you. You survived. You chose to trust us. You let us help. That's harder than people think. Khari sits on the couch. New couch. Comfortable. I still don't understand why you care this much. Deandre sits beside him. You want the honest answer? Always. Because 8 years ago I had a chance to do the right thing and I took the easy way out instead. I let you go and told myself that was enough. But it wasn't. And when I saw you again, I realized I'd been given a second chance. Not many people get those. So this is about your conscience. Maybe. Deandre smiles. Slight. Real. Or maybe I just recognize strength when I see it. And you're one of the strongest people I know. The baby kicks again. Khari winces. Tell that to my ribs. That kid is going to be a fighter, Darius says from the kitchen. Just like you. Later, after everyone leaves and Khari is alone in his new apartment, he stands in the doorway of the baby's room. The crib is white. The sheets are soft. There are books on a shelf and stuffed animals in a basket and a mobile hanging from the ceiling that plays gentle music. This room exists because people chose to help him, because Deandre remembered, because Imani fought, because Darius showed up, because Terrell survived. Khari's phone buzzes. Text from Deandre. You good? Khari types back. Yeah, I'm good. Need anything? No. But thank you. For everything. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Then you're family now. That's what family does. Family. Khari has never had that word apply to him before. Not really. Not in a way that meant safety instead of obligation. He sits in the rocking chair and puts both hands on his stomach. The baby shifts, settles, quiets. We're okay, Khari whispers. We're actually going to be okay. The sun sets outside his window. Orange light paints the walls. Somewhere in the building, a door closes. Someone laughs. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Khari closes his eyes and lets himself rest. Really rest. Not the exhausted collapse of survival, but the deep peace of knowing tomorrow won't be a fight just to exist. His phone rings. Dr. Nguyen. Hi, Khari. Just checking in. How are you feeling? Good. Tired. The baby's been moving a lot today. That's normal. But call me if anything changes. Any cramping, any bleeding, anything that feels off. I will. After he hangs up, Khari makes himself dinner. Real dinner. Not convenience store snacks or diner leftovers. Pasta with vegetables and chicken. He eats at the table, takes his time, doesn't rush. When he's done, he washes the dishes and puts them away in cabinets that close properly. Then he takes a shower in a bathroom where the water pressure is good and the drain doesn't back up. Small things. Normal things. Things he never thought he'd have. That night, Khari dreams about the baby. A face he hasn't seen yet but somehow knows. Eyes that look like his. A cry that means hunger or tiredness or just the need to be held. He dreams about teaching this child to be calm under pressure but not afraid to ask for help. To be strong but not alone. To understand that survival is important but living matters more. When he wakes up, it's to a sharp pain in his lower back. Then another. Then pressure that makes him gasp. He calls Dr. Nguyen first. Then Deandre. It's time, he says. For hours later, Khari holds his daughter for the first time. She's tiny. Perfect. Screaming at the top of her lungs because the world is cold and bright and nothing like the safe space she just left. Hi, baby, Khari whispers. I'm your dad, and I promise you, you're never going to have to be as strong as I was, because I'm going to make sure you have what I didn't. People who show up, people who stay, people who fight for you. The baby stops crying, opens her eyes, dark and clear and focused on his face. Deandre stands in the doorway of the hospital room. He doesn't come in, just watches. She's beautiful, he says. She is, Khari agrees. Have you picked a name? Khari looks down at his daughter, at this small person who exists because he chose to keep going, who will grow up in apartments with working locks and kitchens with new appliances and a life where calm is a choice, not a survival mechanism. Amara, Khari says. It means strength. Perfect, Deandre says. And it is. 3 days later, Khari brings Amara home. To an apartment that's his. To a life that's his. To a future that's still uncertain but no longer terrifying. Amani is waiting with groceries. Darius with a car seat properly installed. Terrell with enough diapers to last a month. Deandre with a promise to be there whenever Khari needs him. Family. Real family. The kind you choose and who choose you back. That night, Khari sits in the rocking chair with Amara asleep in his arms and thinks about the boy in the basement who learned to be calm because panic had consequences. About the man in the diner who didn't scream when guns were drawn. About the father who finally understands that strength isn't just about surviving alone. It's about knowing when to trust, when to ask for help, when to let people in. Amara stirs, makes a small sound, settles back into sleep. And Khari whispers to her in the dark, "We made it, baby girl. We actually made it." Outside, the city continues. Cars passing, people living, the world moving forward like it always does. But inside this apartment, in this moment, everything is still and safe and exactly where it needs to be. Home. The strongest thing you can do isn't surviving alone. It's learning who deserves to stand beside you when the fight is over. Thank you for watching this story. If it touched your heart or made you think differently about strength, survival, and the people who show up when it matters most, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Together, we create a community where stories inspire change and remind us that we're never truly alone. See you in the next one.